If you're a business that's running a website in 2025, you might want to add this tool to your website. Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to the Perspective 9. And today we are going to be talking about the new tool called llms.txt. So similar to back in 2012 and 13, where every single website wanted to have an application on the App Store to increase visibility. Well, now that every single business is investing in AI, you want to make sure that your website is also visible for AI. So I'm going to pass to my screen right here. So when we're talking about any language model like ChatGPT, there is three different approaches of passing your data in there. So then option number one, which I haven't even listed, is just creating your own model with your own data in there where you can ask it question. But of course, that's not only expensive in terms of you need knowledge to know how to do that, but also expensive in terms of it takes a lot of time and computational power to be able to train a language model. Your next option is to pass it as a context. So just simply putting your document in the same place that you're asking your question. It's simple and it's easy to use, but there's a size limit. And it's not very efficient for large documents. It's gonna hallucinate, and as you guys can see with ChatGPT, there's so much text that you can put in the chat box itself. Your next option is to create a vector database, meaning a RAG, retrieval augmented generation. It's very scalable, it's very fast, but it's tricky to configure, and there's gonna be a lot of upfront cost. And you also need to host your model as well and kind of connect it to your LLM model. So that also you need to have a lot of computational power. And the other problem is that if you add any new data to it, you need to compute it again and host it again. So what we are looking at today is a new standard called llm.txt. It's simple to use, simple to audit, and it's very cheap, but it adds a little bit of latency to our chat, which is actually not that bad. So if you go to the website itself, for the standard llms.txt.org, it says that this is the format that we need to put our website. So the title, the description in a markdown format, and with each section, the important links and a short description about what that page is going to be talking about. So there's actually a list of different websites that already have started to implement this. So I'm going to just take the first one as an example, which is a JavaScript tool. We see that it is docs/run.md and their website /llms.txt, and then here you get the name, the description, and different versions. So if you want to go to, for example, that specific version and ask it some questions, it's gonna pull it up and you have all of the text there. And here again, templating, runtime, with each one you get the title for the page, the actual markdown format of it, and a short description of what that page is talking about. So why do we want to do that? If you look at the building blocks of a website, we have a bunch of HTML tags, and then from there some CSS and JavaScript, which gives some styling to the website, and some animations. As you see, if I hover my mouse over it, it changes colors to say that I can click on it. And as humans, we are visual, and that's how we built our websites and our browsers, where it can take this kind of code and convert it into this. And if you look at the actual important part of the page, we see that it's a very small part of the entire text that we are dealing with. And all of these, of course, we can open up, and all of these have, again, different sections under it, which makes the website quite big. So in the past, what people have done to make different bots to be able to read the website is first we have a sitemap, which kind of tells about the different menus that the website has. And if your website like a news website, You might have something called a RS feed, which again, you have the RS text, the title of the page, and then you might have the title of the article and the link to it and a short description. But as we can see here, again, how many times that we are repeating just the word item. Just all of that multiplied by 100 or 200, that's going to be on every single page. It's going to be a lot of extra text that our language model doesn't need. So instead of using the RS standard and XML to kind of build a list for everything that is on our website, we're going to use this instead. And of course, going back to why we want to do that again, much simpler to use and it's very cheap. So as a business, how would you add this to your website? So I've looked at the statistic, and around 40 to 45% of businesses are using WordPress for their website. So I've actually went ahead and built a WordPress llm.txt plugin where you can just upload this file in the plugin section of your website. And what it's going to do is build that file for you. And the way that I built it is the first section is going to be the menu with the description. And for sub menus, I've added 2 dashes for it. Same thing for the product page and for the blog section as well. And you can have this to generate every day, every hour, or every week. And I've limited the blog section to 5, but you can change this as well just so your llm.txt file is not too big. So with this plugin, you can already get started by having your llm.txt ready. So now, how do you go ahead and actually use it? So people at LangChain have actually built a tool, MCP Docs, which lets you use that. And I'm pretty sure that in the near future, we're going to see a lot of businesses who are going to start by just scanning different websites for the llm.txt file and provide LLM solutions for the businesses. So the way that they've built this tool is through a tool called MCP. I have a video about that. I'll link it in the description. But what it does is you have a task that you want to ask a question about in your chat GPT or Claude. You're going to pass the URL in there, and the URL is going to just fetch different markdown files to find the documents. So let's do a demo of this. So I went ahead and I've downloaded this MCP doc here running on my computer. And I've went ahead. So if you can see, the command that I'm using is UVX. If you want, I'll put a link about the tool in the comment, but it's pretty simple to install. It's just one command. And then the directory itself. And then I've passed the LangChain URL just to do the example. And we are hosting that on localhost port 8080. So if you go to our MCP inspector, we can just connect to it. And for the MCP inspector, I'll put a link of that in the comment as well. So you can come here, see the list of your docs available. So let's say if you're a company and you want to build a chatbot and your employees can only access things from your own website only, you can, of course, specify that in how you're hosting it, and you can pass the URL of your data. And then from there, they have a fetch docs tool, which is gonna pull that data from that website. So if we go to that link, we can see that we are looking at the same thing. So no more stupid HTML or XML tags like what we're dealing with. And that's gonna decrease hugely the amount of tokens that the chatbot is gonna use to kind of understand the text. The other thing that you can do, which is pretty cool, I'm gonna go back to VS Code, is that in our MCP video, we showed you how to set up the MCP tool here. But if you go to the setting, here again, I'm just adding the MCP doc tool here with the directory and the URL here. But you can also pass a rule, meaning If you're asking any questions about LangChain, to call that list doc source list and fetch the appropriate documents to be able to answer your questions, which is pretty cool. So that's it for today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it in the comment. And all of the different websites, from the WordPress plugin to the docs tool from LangChain, I'll leave them in the comments below. And until the next video.